This is Sichi, a high school student who's constantly bullied by everyone, for everything from his belly to his foul smell. And whatever he's doing in the classroom, he hears a voice that changes his life 360 degrees. We learn from the voice that everyone in the class will be transferred to another world as heroes. And they're given powers as gifts, like knowing the situation, an evaluation skill, and a toolbox, and asking them to form groups. When he tries to join a group, they evaluate him and we find out that he's considered worse than trash. So you can imagine the bullying that happened afterward. Everyone is transferred to the other world, but when the voice sees our hero alone and completely isolated, it decides to give him an additional skill, which we don't know what it is. He's transferred to the new world, more precisely to a forest, and his situation seems to get even worse. Bad luck for Sichi. Trying to find food, Sichi finds a fruit and thinks, it's already spoiled, so why not eat it? While searching for food, he encounters monkeys with a level of 120 while he's at level 1. They have the same kind of fruit Sichi found, and luckily for him, they leave the place. He steals the fruits and finds an advanced healing potion, which he decides to take and keeps in his toolbox. Meanwhile, the rest of the students are in a city, and Sichi is the only one who was transferred to the forest. Tough luck for Sichi. We return to Sichi and learn that the fruit is called the fruit of evolution, and as its name suggests, it evolves your abilities, which is exactly what happens. Suddenly, he's attacked by a monkey. He uses the healing potion to treat himself, but the monkey is stronger than him. Just when the monkey is about to devour him, it can't stand Sichi's smell and die. Sichi gains items from the monkey that increase his skills and finds a book about the kind of monkey he killed. We learn that these monkeys are intelligent and knowledgeable in chemistry, which I myself don't know anything about, and they make tools. But how could our hero read the book when it's in the language of the new world? Right, remember the extra skill the voice gave our hero in the beginning? That skill allowed him to read the language of the new world he's been transported to. A few minutes after reading, we hear a voice saying that the evolution process has begun. Our hero transforms in a strange way, very strange, from a pot-bellied guy to a slim one, and his stats increase. Yet, the evolution level he reached is only 1 out of 10, which means he has to go through a lot more to complete the 10. But what's odd is his defeat of a level 120 monkey while he's at level 1. I'm sure with his smell, he could take down a monkey with a level of 1,000,000. Let's continue. And after 5 months, everything was perfect. The progress reached 9 out of 10, meaning it was almost complete. And then suddenly, a level 700 gorilla appeared, known to be the leader of the smart monkeys, challenging our hero, who couldn't refuse because, as you know, refusing would have consequences. The gorilla attacked, but our hero dodged the blow, to the gorilla's surprise since no one had ever dodged it before. They fought fiercely, and with each passing moment, the gorilla grew fonder of our hero, until the gorilla caught the scent of our hero and said, "That's it, you will come with me to my place so we can marry in peace." I am as shocked as you are now, and we come to know the gorilla's name is Saria, and that she is actually female, so we will refer to the gorilla as she, not he. She starts to treat Sichi as her husband, and while Sichi tries to clear up the misunderstanding, but gorilla is still a gorilla. He lives with her until he finds a chance to escape. Meanwhile, the other students are angry because they have to train with a wooden sword and learn the basics every single day, as the king has ordered them to defeat the demon king. Returning to Sichi as he tries to escape from Saria at his fastest, but Saria chases him. Yet, our hero is faster and reaches the Dimas, a place full of ancient ruins and rare treasures, but it's also protected by very strong monsters. When he enters, he meets a person claiming to be the Dark King Zianos, with a level of 1500. He draws his sword and attacks our hero, but Saria arrives and takes the stab for him. Saria is on the brink of death, and Sichi apologizes for his cruel treatment of her. Saria thanks Sichi for every second they spent together, and then she dies. Sichi loses his mind with rage and attacks Zianos. While recalling all his memories with Saria, Sichi attacks him with his strongest skill and defeats him. Suddenly, for some reason I can't disclose on the channel, Saria transforms from a gorilla into a human. After all the sorrow we've seen and Sichi losing his mind, we don't know what the outcome will be. Anyway, Sichi opens the chest that fell from the King of Darkness and gains new skills, the most important of which is that he can now use dark magic. he also reaches his final evolution and becomes the young man every girl dreams of. Just like that. Then a little lamb appears, saying it's the supervisor of the Demas, and gives them food that will last for 10 days as a reward for overcoming the Demas. It gives Seiichi a helmet with a special ability and clothes for Saria and transports them out of the forest. The lamb wonders when they will see each other again. We go to Seiichi and Saria outside the forest for the first time to start their new adventure. They decide to go to the Adventurers Guild. During their journey, the helmet transforms into a coat. We learn that the coat conceals Seiichi's great power. After a while, they reach the Guild of Adventurers and join the guild. They ask Seiichi and Saria to pass the entrance exam with a girl named Artoria as the observer. The exam begins and Seiichi and Saria manage to complete every task they face. They receive a prize from the guild master for their achievement in the tasks. The rest of the exam days pass smoothly until the final test begins, which was very normal until suddenly a magical circle appeared and transported them to Demas. During their conversation, Artoria accidentally presses a stone that separates them from each other. While searching for a way out, Artoria faces the strong monsters of the Demas and defeats them. At the same time, Seiichi finds things that raise his stats. We return to Artoria, who finds a gate, and when she opens it, she meets the Black Dragon, which is considered the strongest in the Demon King's army. Anyone who faces it is very unlucky. But Artoria does not surrender to her fate and attacks it with all her might. Nevertheless, the dragon is able to stab her with a powerful blow. Just as he is about to finish her, Satoshi appears and protects her. They attack each other, but the dragon is stronger than Seiichi. When he sees his level, he is shocked to find it's 5000. The dragon pins Seiichi down and is about to kill him, but Seiichi regains movement and attacks the dragon with the power of his mighty sword and defeats the dragon. Our hero's level rises significantly, and he acquires new and powerful skills. They leave Demas, and the first thing Seiichi asks Artoria about is her luck value, which turns out to be negative 2 million. I also ask why she went to the Black Dragon, which of course makes her feel like everyone hates her because she brings them bad luck. They return to the guild and she apologizes to them for bringing bad luck, but they tell her they love her regardless, and in the end, they are friends no matter what happens. Seiichi helps her and gives her the Ring of Happiness, which improves her luck, changing it from negative 2 million to positive 4 million. She's very happy that she will finally be free from her bad luck. Of course, this makes her blush a bit because she's starting to feel that she loves him. But we have nothing to do with these matters. Then Saria decides to go on a mission alone, and Seiichi will look for any information about his friends, the students who were transferred with him. Indeed, he manages to find some information that recently, some heroes from another world have been summoned as heroes to defeat the Demon King, who we know the City King, where Seiichi's friends are, wants to defeat the Demon King by any means necessary, even by using enslavement bracelets to control them and make them do as he wishes. We return to Seiichi, who doesn't find any information about his friends in the library, so he decides to read some books about magic because he doesn't know much about it, which enables him to gain many new and very powerful skills. After that, Seiichi goes to do a thorough messing around. And if you've reached this point, you surely liked the video. So don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and write a nice comment just like you. The guild leader then suggests to Seiichi that he should look for a horse to help him with everything, and this is mandatory, not optional. After a while, Seiichi finds the poor donkey, which has hooves that could split rocks. Seiichi manages to talk to it because he has the skill to understand all languages. Indeed, Seiichi decides to take it, or rather her, as a horse, even though it's a donkey, but it's fine. He decides to enter her in the Royal Cup tournament. When the tournament begins, everyone is prepared. Seiichi's donkey was slow because they weren't feeding her much, so Seiichi gives her the evolution fruit. In a second, her stats all double, and she regains her energy, defeating the competitors and monsters on the way, and they win first place. As a reward, they get to spend a day with the Valkyrie, who are considered the strongest warriors in the kingdom, and by God's will, the donkey suddenly transforms into a girl named Luluni. Got her number? She also falls in love with the hero. And so, the hero scores a hat trick and has 3 who love him. Ah, you lucky son Fozzie. Then the Valkyrie come to take Seiichi because he won the tournament. we move to a meeting of the leaders of the Demon King's armies, and we learn that the Demon King's daughter wants to ally with the kingdom of Wimber, where Seiichi is. Another one says there's someone who killed the Black Dragon and learned his name is Seiichi, and he's in the kingdom of Wimber. After a little talk, all the leaders agree to ally with the humans, but the Demon King's assistant had another opinion. We return to Seiichi and see the power of the Valkyrie, the strongest of them being a girl named Lois, who managed to knock down 6 in the blink of an eye. Lois challenges Seiichi to a practice battle. Despite his fear, remember this is Seiichi we're talking about, despite her power, he manages to dodge all her attacks and even manages to disarm her sword and wins against her, and everyone is surprised that he could defeat her. Looks like Lois is going to be the 4th. We learn that the demons sent an assassin to kill the king. Seiichi and the Valkyrie find out about this, and by chance, Seiichi encounters the assassin and manages to stop them. However, the crime was committed and the king was left with serious wounds. It turns out that the assassin is a young girl, and we learn that the assassin stabbed the king with a cursed dagger of eternal sleep, for which there is no cure yet. But somehow, Seiichi manages to create new magic to heal the curse and manages to reverse the curse on the king. Now the king is fine and in good health. On the other hand, the other students are treated like slaves. We learn that the king of the city where Seiichi's friends are is the one who sent the girl assassin to kill the king of Wimp City. When we go to the young assassin, we find out that the former king had placed a bracelet of enslavement on her, which forced her to obey his orders. That's why, during her interrogation, she doesn't speak about anything because of the bracelet. But after a while, they learn about the bracelet, and Seiichi tries to remove the bracelet with his magic. Indeed, he manages to remove it by creating a new spell specifically to free her from the bracelet. What greatness! Oh Seiichi, it feels like you are fooling us. Anyway, she thanks him because she's finally going to be free. Yikes, looks like she's going to be the 5th. Afterward, Lois asks Seiichi to protect the king in her absence because they've received reports that monster activity has increased on the borders lately. Therefore, she will go there with the Valkyrie. Without thinking, Seiichi agrees to protect the king in her absence. Lois and the Valkyrie leave the kingdom. After a week, life was sweet to the extent that Seiichi met the wizard Barna, who mastered all kinds of magic and is the greatest wizard there is. Barna speaks with the king about his school, Barbador, where Seiichi's friends are, and that there have been many problems there lately. Suddenly, a report reaches the king that a wave of monsters, each of boss level, is invading the forest and the kingdom. Yet, this does not make the Valkyrie flee. On the contrary, they were fully prepared to protect their homeland. Indeed, they managed to defeat all the monsters in the forest. We learn that the one behind the attacks is the assistant to the king of demons. We then move to the queen, and everyone participated in the battle, and they managed to finish them off. But then another report arrives about a new wave in the depths of the forest with a greater boss level. So Seiichi says, "Enough is enough for you guys," and he manages to cast a wide-scale spell that obliterates them all, including the assistant to the king of demons. He deserved it. Seiichi's level rises incredibly, and due to gaining many skills, different skills are merged into new ones. Everyone is astonished by Seiichi's power, especially the wizard Barna, who asks Seiichi to come to his school and become a professor, saying that the spell he cast earlier, despite being original and powerful, was so precise that even I, Barna, the greatest wizard existing, couldn't perform it. Seiichi agrees to become a professor at the wizard Barna's school, which is the very school where Seiichi's friends are. We move to the assistant of the king of demons, who apologizes to the king of demons for the failure of the plan. One of the commanders says she has a plan to bring back the king of demons. Seiichi bids farewell to the entire kingdom to start his new adventure at Barbador School where his friends are. We continue with Seiichi as he heads to Barbador Academy with his crew. Upon arrival, the wizard Barna takes them on a tour of the academy. After the tour, Barna tells Seiichi that after the arrival of students from another world, the other students felt annoyed by this and started bothering them. So, I brought you here, Seiichi, to save the academy from what it's facing. Seiichi is appointed as a teacher with Oliga as his assistant. Saria and Luloni will be students, and Toria will be a teacher like Seiichi. Barna tells him that he will be in charge of Class F, a group known for causing trouble. Suddenly, this girl opens the door abruptly, and we learn that her name is Beatrice. It seems she has the whole academy under her thumb like a spider in its web. She takes Sishi to where Class F is located. We learn that she was the previous person in charge of Class F, but left because she couldn't develop their talents. They are not troublemakers, on the contrary, they're really nice, and she believes Sishi can develop their talents. Upon reaching the class, Sishi is greeted in a peculiar way, with a basin falling on him. Don't ask me how, but Sishi calms himself down, remembering Beatrice's words that they are nice. When he looks at them, he finds that the entire class consists of only 4 people. Yes, that's right, just 4. And they're not alike at all. One is a bully named Agnos. Another is introverted wearing a bear's head called Bird, who doesn't speak but writes on paper. There's a geek named Prod. I don't know what he's doing with them. And a narcissistic girl who's full of herself named Helen. It's quite the class, one that you wouldn't wish on anyone. Meanwhile, in another place, demons are plotting to attack the academy. Suddenly, 2 named Demorus and Agniera appear, heralds of the Demon King. They declare that they will be the ones to assault the academy because they can't leave such a task to a pig with a belly like that. At that time, Sichi was struggling with the students in Class F, but the leader Beatrice steps in and resolves the issue, making it known to them that Sichi is their new teacher, taking her place, and then Saria joins as a student in their class. Afterward, teacher Beatrice distributes the grades of their last exam, and the whole class has failed, except for Agnes who, without bragging, got a 0. We are different from the others. Even the loner, the bear idea, failed. What's your excuse now, Agnes? Beatrice suggests. How about you test their combat strength in a special lesson? The students are excited about the idea, because they still think Sichi is weak. While the students head to the battleground, Sichi is with Principal Barna, telling him that Class F is different from the other classes. Have you not asked yourself why Class F only has 4 students? Beatrice explains that they can't use magic, which is why the other students ostracized and bullied them. This scene is from her talk in episode 3. That's why we put them in one class, to keep them as far away as possible from the other students. While the students of Class F are preparing for the test, someone from Class S, the highest class in the academy, comes and starts to hassle them. This person is Brod's brother, Theobald, and he was about to challenge them to a fight. But when he notices Saria, he says, "What's a beautiful girl like you doing in Class F?" And he tells her, "How about you become my wife?" She tells him, "Sorry, I'm married to Sichi." Boom, 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 a face was slammed. Indeed, his face was blown away. He says, "Surely I must have heard wrong. I'll give you another chance." But she tells him, "Go away, you with your triangle-shaped head." Boom, boom, the face was slammed for the second time. I think it's enough to end the video right there. Anyway, he tries to save what's left of his dignity and leaves. At that moment, Sichi arrives at the battleground and the combat strength test begins. Sichi tells them that he won't use magic, which angers Helen because she perceives it as an insult to them. She draws her knives and attacks him with a flurry of strikes. And he was in such a critical situation that he was about to use magic, but something strange like interference stops him. He is very surprised by what happened, and when it attacks him again, he uses magic and ends the matter in his usual gentle way, as is Sichi's style. Then it's Agnos's turn to face Sichi, but Barud tells him, "What do you think if we 3 face him together?" And they attack Sichi with a triple assault. But Sichi shines as usual and he uses a spell that shakes the entire academy. However, they are not satisfied with what happened because they are unable to use magic, which makes them vulnerable to bullying and beating. That's why the rest of the chapters call them the class of failures. Here, Sichi is not content with this situation. He uses the skill of clairvoyance and discovers that there are chains on them preventing them from using magic. Sichi remembers when he was bullied and had no friends to turn to, and how, after moving to this world, he met many people who helped him on his way, and he is not willing to see them suffer as he did. So he decides that he will save them. He creates a new skill from scratch to free them from the chains, and it actually works. The chains break, and when they try to use magic, they indeed can use their magic for the first time. They are overjoyed, and teacher Beatrice cries with happiness that they are finally able to use magic. After that, they go to the academy's cafeteria to celebrate what happened. At that moment, a girl appears and calls Sichi. It turns out she was looking for him with her nose, which can locate where you are from a kilometer away because she sensed his scent as soon as he arrived at the academy. Nose like that or pipes? Her name is Kanazuki, and she was one of the students from his class who transferred with him. She is very happy that she found him, and lo and behold, a storm of hugs swept through the place. At the same time, Demuros and Agniera arrive at the academy. they notice a magical barrier over it. But with her skills, Agnera controls the gate guards and makes them open the gate for her. After that, Sichi and the gang went to have a nice sit down and they chatted for a bit. We learn from Kanazuki that she respects Sichi because he saved her from some bullies when she was little. Even though he couldn't really do anything to them because of his belly, of course, but he was trying to help her, and that's what made her respect him. And when she asked him why he saved her, he replied to her, saying that his father and mother taught him to help anyone in need. Later, she found out that Sichi was an orphan, yet he was always smiling. Here, Sichi stands up and confesses the truth to everyone, and he tells them the story from beginning to end. But they tell him that they will continue to love him no matter what he looks like. However, suddenly, Kanazuki breaks the romantic mood that was set, and she tells Sichi that they can't see each other again. And when he asks her why, she tells him it's because of the other students ostracizing them, and she doesn't want to cause him problems and such, and that she's happy that she saw him. While she was leaving, she notices Olga wearing a bracelet similar to the one that was around her neck when she was a slave. She gets scared and tells Sichi. Sichi quickly asks her about it, and she tells him that the Tsar's empire gave it to them when they came to this world. Sichi gets angry because he knows that this bracelet is a bracelet of slavery, and the same interference happens again. The power of the fruit of evolution is activated, and Sichi's eyes turn into demonic eyes, and Sichi screams with a rage that shakes the whole world, and all the bracelets in the academy break. And there's a strange body inside Sichi's mind. But just as Sichi's body was about to collapse, Saria saves and awakens him. Kanazuki is found fallen on the ground. So Sichi rushes to her, and he explains the situation to her, that the bracelet is a bracelet of slavery, and that the Tsar's empire is manipulating them. And here, the wizard Barna appears, and he says that they probably wanted to use you as pawns to control the world, and fortunately, the bracelets were broken. And in the class, Seichi has just finished the lesson, and there's the inter-class competition next week, and they're all excited because finally, they'll be able to use magic and show their true abilities. Sichi puts them through very tough training so they will be ready for the competition. And then the day of the competition comes, and the wizard Barna announces the start of the competition. At that time, Sichi, may his life be long, is in the bathroom. And all I can say is, God be with you, my son. The first match is between Broad and Theobald, but suddenly, a magical circle appears in the sky, and from it descend messengers of the Demon King, Demuros and Agnera. Demuros uses light magic to absorb the power of everyone in the place to revive the Demon King, and Sichi's class cooperates with Theobald to protect the academy. They manage to break Agnera's mask, and her facial tattoo is revealed. She becomes fiercely angry and uses her full power and defeats them all, but then Beatrice appears and intervenes. Agnera attacked her, but Beatrice withstood her attack and she struck her with a book blow to the head that finished her off. They rejoiced in their defeat of Agnera, but in their joy, they forgot about Demuros, who appeared and said, "Don't you feel like you've forgotten someone?" He sat down to torture the sorcerer Barna, not knowing why. Poor sorcerer Barna. Then Agnera woke up and asked Demuros for some power, but he laughed and told her, "You're finished, and you're not even one of the messengers. The real messengers are the ones with this emblem on their bodies. Your only value was in your mind and power, but you've lost them." And she was absorbed by the king of demons. Then the confrontation between Beatrice and Demuros began. The difference in power was evident. He attacked her with consecutive strikes. The sect tried to help her but were defeated. She stood in front of them to protect them. Demuros readied his final attack. But then, Uncle Sichi appeared and said, "What's happening here in my absence? Did you do all this?" Setesh became angry, and his demonic power showed Demuros used all his power against him. But with one strike, Sichi finished him off. Everyone celebrated the overwhelming defeat. When they asked him where he was, he said, "Forgive me, I was fighting a different enemy." "You are excused, Sichi, excused." But do you know who's not excused, dear viewer? It's you, because until now, you haven't liked or subscribed. Do you want to upset me? Would you accept my anger? If not, then go ahead, subscribe, like, and comment on your way out. And in the Kingdom of Demons, they are preparing to commence an alliance with the Kingdom of Wimberg. In the Kingdom of Wimberg, they too are getting ready to form an alliance. The Queen of Demons, Lutia, along with her aides, arrives at the palace of the King of Wimberg. They welcome her with grand hospitality. After some cordial and polite discussions, they agree to cooperate in protecting the world and to stop the envoys of the Demon King and the Caesar Empire from doing what they intend to do. They sign the contract, and thus the alliance between the Kingdom of Wimberg Limburg, and the Kingdom of Demons is successfully formed. At that time in the academy, when Sichi left, one of the messengers, named Gimbal, entered the academy disguised as a student because his power was cloning. He came to the academy to kill Sichi's friends to make him despair. By doing so, he would fulfill the condition to revive the King of Demons. In reality, he was from a wealthy family, but he never felt happiness because he believed that people only got close to him because of his social status and money, not for who he was. He approached Sichi's friends to try to kill them while disguised as them, but each time he did, he found that they were very kind, which made him feel the desire to have friends who loved him for who he was. So he decided to live among them as Sichi for a while, to experience what he had been missing, and he let himself go to the extent that he himself was shocked by his actions. And while he was sitting eating with them in the forest, Barna spoke about the messengers and that the final battle was nearing, and that he felt the presence of an evil aura in the academy, which could be one of the messengers. Then Kanazuki appeared and said that it wasn't Sichi and that his scent was different, so Gimbal revealed his true form and confessed everything, that he did all that to destroy them in order to make Sichi despair and to allow the King of Demons to absorb the power of his despair. But that was the plan before he transformed into Sichi, because after he became Sichi, he began to understand emotions and the feeling of being loved. That's why he decided not to kill them and to go look for someone who would accept and love him. He left them and walked away, just like that, and as Gimbal was leaving the kingdom, a person wearing a black cloak appeared before him, and it seemed that Gimbal knew him. Gimbal told him that he would leave the messengers and that he was no longer interested in the matter of reviving the King of Demons. Suddenly, that person stabbed him and disappeared. After that, we see Sichi riding the carriage and returning to school, and when he returns, he trains for a bit, but he finds himself unable to use magic. He asks himself, what's happening to me? And then we move on to the academy, and there we find Barna holding an emergency meeting. He says to Sichi, "The time has come for me to tell you the real reason I brought you to the academy. It's because I anticipated that the messengers would attack us, and that those who have consumed the fruit of evolution are destined to meet the messengers. And Sichi, I'm specifically talking about you because you have eaten the fruit of evolution." Sichi asks, "Did you know that I had consumed the fruit of evolution?" Barna responds, "Shame on you. Do you see who you're speaking to?" Then Toria asks a pertinent question. "So, what is the connection between the fruit of evolution and the messengers?" Beatrice answers, "To get to that point, we must go back in time to the beginning of the story, where in ancient times, one of the world rulers rebelled against the others. Because of this, a large part of the earth was scorched, leaving a void until it was sealed. This rebellious ruler hated the other rulers and cursed the entire world. Due to these negative emotions, a crystallization of hatred formed, which was the fruit of evolution. It started to proliferate until it covered the entire world. The remaining rulers noticed it and began to use their power to contain its spread, and from then on, it became a thing of legend. This rebellious ruler was the King of Demons, and therefore, those who consume large amounts of the fruit end up as bait for the King of Demons, bait filled with despair. When they ask Sichi how many he had consumed, he says, "About 10. 10, you tyrant! 10, you deceiver!" they exclaim. It becomes clear that 10 is the maximum number one can consume. Then, the sorcerer Barna speaks of the strongest among the messengers, known as Destra, who was once a student at the academy. Barna found him in a village that was destroyed by the rulers, harboring an unnatural hatred for them, because they killed his family and everyone he loved. So when Barna and the girl resembling Saria, named Libra, found him, they took care of him and made him a student at the academy, especially Libra, who cared for him more than anyone else, to the point where Destra began to love her. For her birthday, he gave her the gift of her favorite flowers, called Danun. But then, one day, a tragic disaster occurred. Demons attacked the academy, and as Destra was fleeing, a demonic wolf appeared before him. He tried to kill it, but to no avail. And just when Destra was about to be killed, Libra appeared and took the attack in his place, protecting him until she was buried under the rubble. At that moment, the power of the fruit of evolution within Destra was activated, and despair and hatred took hold of him. He began to blame everyone, including Barna. Suddenly, without warning, Destra appears before Sichi and Barna, paralyzing everyone with his demonic power. Barna breaks free from the paralysis and tries to stop him. Destra attacks Barna with a dark sphere, but Barna stops it. Barna then says, "Since I can't kill you, die with me," and detonates himself. We are led to believe that Destra has died, but he survives. He transports Sichi and Saria to a place made of hatred and despair, the place where the King of Demons was sealed. Sichi asks him about his goal, and Destra says that as one of the messengers, it's natural for his goal to be to revive the King of Demons. But at the same time, his personal aim is to destroy the King of Demons forever, because he took what was most dear to him. From the moment Libra died, he declares, I decided to destroy the world and kill the rulers. To do that, I must kill you and take your despair into my own hands. The final battle begins, and Sichi attacks him, but Destra is stronger and stabs Sichi in the stomach, and he prepares for the final blow. But here, Saria appears, fierce and protective. She attacks Destra, but her attacks don't seem to affect him. He retaliates with blade-like strikes and stabs her in the heart with his power. Sichi carries her, weeping, so she tells him not to cry and that she has no regrets, that she enjoyed the time they spent together. And then Saria dies. Destra becomes even more enraged, telling Sichi that it's his fault Saria died because he wasn't strong enough, so Sichi unleashes the power of the demon's evolution fruit, and Sichi is about to turn into a demon like Destra. But before he transforms, he remembers all his memories since he arrived in this world and how crazy it all was. Destra appears in his mind, making him remember his old life, how hard and painful it was, and how everyone used to bully him. Destra tells him that everything that happened in this world was a lie. What matters is your true character, and that he too had suffered greatly, had everything taken from him overnight, and that they are similar, and says, come on Sichi, let's destroy the world together. Sichi is about to transform, but suddenly he remembers Saria and her love for him. When he remembers her, he changes his mind, telling Destra that he is not like him, because he knew the meaning of pain through bullying. Since then, he treated others kindly. If not for knowing pain and feeling it, he wouldn't have reached where he is now. Then the unexpected happens. The power of the evolution fruit reverses, and the true power of the evolution fruit appears, which is the power of friendship. Because of the power of friendship, the wizard Barna and Saria and all who died because of the apostles come back to life. Sichi asks Destra with all charisma to attack him and decapitate him with his sithe. Destra attacks Sichi with all his might, but Sichi counters with the power of friendship. Destra tries repeatedly, but Sichi is always ready for him. Destra pulls out his scythe and lunges at him, but Sichi easily dodges and wounds him. Destra cries, asking why they aren't the same. Sichi tells him not to worry. He trusts him and his ability to change and treat people kindly. So, in the end, we are not alike. Destra thanks Sichi and suddenly uses his power to kill himself. Sichi tries to save him but can't, and Destra disappears. Saria appears behind Sichi, thanking him, saying he's the best husband in the world. Amidst the romantic atmosphere, Saria decides she must now transform immediately into a gorilla. I don't even know what to say, and she carries him back to the academy. Everyone rejoices at their return, and that's where the anime ends. Thus, we have summarized the entire second season of Sichi's tale. So, if you haven't subscribed, liked, and all those good things, you're free to do so, but we'll be sad. If you don't want me to be sad, quickly subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment on the fly. So if you're good, I'm good. Alright then, bye.